How's it going there, everyone? It's Mr. Zen over here with a brand new Digimon Tree discussion. For this episode, we're going to be talking about Digimon Tree Episode 2 Reunion Part 2. In this episode, it was actually more along the line a Battleborn episode, as we see that Kuwagamon was actually been, I would say, desecrating the whole entire city of Tokyo, as you can say, because of the fact that not only did Taichi, like I said before in my previous video, only saw Kuwagamon, the whole entire city saw Kuwagamon. And now the story is now focusing more on the fact that the government itself is actually more involved with the Digimon and the Digidestined. And you're actually also curious as to wonder how long did the government actually was involved with the Digimon too. When you think of the fact that when all the Digidestined were actually gathered all at once in the episode. Don't get me wrong, that was a pure nostalgia moment right there, again in itself. I love the way that the authors and the animators were actually doing it, by the way. They actually grabbed them all at the airport scene. All of them were lined up against each other, except Joe and Mimi, you could say. Mimi was part, I would say, like maybe like the last 5-10 minutes of the episode. But the whole entire episode, it was just everybody else wasn't part of the major battle. And now Kuwagamon himself, he actually was the main villain he spanned for 2 entire episodes, which I found hilarious because back in the original Digimon story, he only lasted for 1 whole entire episode, but now he actually lasted for 2 entire episodes. Like, wow, this Kuwagamon must be the cream of the crop. I'm hoping that they actually meet this character again and they didn't, I would say, exit out the show, because of the fact that at the end of the episode, they defeat 3 Kuwagamon, because 3 of them pop out at the airport, but they only defeat 2. So which goes along to say that maybe that there might be another one that it'll pop up later in the story. It might be a final villain, final boss. As you can say, for character progression, it's as to say, like, oh, we got stronger. We can defeat this Kuwagamon later on. Boom, get that thing out of the picture and everything. But yes. But back to the government. Yes, the government itself, yes, they are involved tremendously in this episode, as they're the ones that also gathered Digidestined. Their involvement, they're not planning to keep it on a secret. As I would say, what was his name? Tai's little sister, TK, Joe, Mimi, Sora, and Izzy. They were all brought in by them, but they questioned the government officials as to say, who are they and all that stuff, and they weren't actually saying anything. And you could only think and hypothesize that the fact that the Digidestined have been tailgated by these government officials since the longest. So as is to say, as like the government is already anticipating a war, as you could say. And you're here wondering, you're just here mind blown at the fact that, wow, they never did that in the original Digidestined. They actually did do that, I would say, more along in the other seasons of Digimon, whereas the fact that the government was more involved, but not in the original, which kind of makes it a little bit more interesting, because with the originals, a lot of people saw the Digimon out in the middle of Tokyo, but no one really did anything. Because if I remember correctly, back in the original Digimon, the humans, I could say, wasn't involved as much, since back then they actually just went back to digital right after they defeated Melomayotismon, if I remember correctly. So this arc, I'm hoping we're getting some more action with the government, which by the way seems pretty intense. And let's not forget the fact that the voice actors for the Digimon, they did a wonderful job. The only one that I personally did not like out of all the voice actors was Palmon's voice. It just sounded so, I wouldn't say nasally, but just annoying. It was annoying to the fact that I actually was thinking like, someone shut her up. Like, I actually wanted to tell someone that, like, someone shut this woman up. Like, just sounds so annoying and nasally. Just sent shivers down my spine. But like I said, though, everything else was pretty decent in itself. And I also love the fact that the way they used the Digivolution sequence, it was very different from the original Digidestined, or I should say in the first series, as you could say. They actually went more along with a binary code with lots of zeros and ones going all around the Digimon. It was very flashy, as you could say. And the other ones, it wasn't as flashy. If I remember correctly, back then they were just kind of just did like a stream of code, and then when the code rose up to the top, a little light glue, and then you could say that light shone on them, and then that was it. They digivolved. But in this one, that was very different. They actually kind of like went into like an embryo state, and in that little embryo state, then they hatched into something else, kind of like an RPG kind of status, Digivolution, which I thought was pretty cool. Like you could tell the animation spent a lot more time in dealing with the Digivolution. And don't get me wrong, it does take a little more while for them to digivolve because they're trying to show it off as like flashy and everything. But that's only to showcase probably in the first episode. There will probably along the later episodes we probably won't get to see that long flashy sequence. But like I said before, still a-okay in my book. But let's not forget, throughout the whole entire episode, we're also introduced to, like, I would say, a shadowy figure. I don't know, like some kind of other Digimon that's like been tailgating them. I don't know. It's weird. It was shown like near the end of the episode, and we don't know what currently that Digimon is. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of you folks out there probably do know, but I don't know because I'm barely watching this series. Like I have not yet seen nothing out of this whole entire series. So like everything that's like happening right now is all new to me right now. So no spoilers. No spoilers for now. But yes. Oh yes, and I cannot forget to mention at the fact that if I remember correctly, when they defeated the kuwagamon at the airport scene, it the data you could say was dispersing back to the digital world. So that little scene felt important to me because of the fact that they showed that case multiple times when they defeated the kuwagamon. So there's a lot more going on at stake here. Maybe some evil villain is gathering energy to like probably resurrect something. Maybe that's what I'm going along the line of it, because it was pretty weird that Izzy even spotted himself out with his own two eyes when he saw that, and he was wondering, what's going on here? Like the data is going back to the digital world, or is there something more along the lines of that? And also, it's funny because when I was watching this episode, it kind of reminded me of Captain America versus Civil War. Like, to be honest, it really did, because the fact that of the airport scene, they're just manhandling that place. And I remember in Captain America Civil War, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, although sorry for spoiling, but at the airport scene, Captain America and Iron Man and all the heroes were all causing a disruption around there at an airport. So just to me, it kind of had that same vibe going on there, which I thought was very hilarious in itself. But that's it for this episode. Like I said, a lot of things are happening in this series, mostly because the world government, I feel like they have a little bit something more along the case, something up their sleeves too. I'm hoping that in the next episode they kind of showcase a little or explain a little bit more as to what's going on. Maybe they know a little bit more as to know what's going on. But other than that, wow, kind of glad to see all the digidestined back. And Joe and Mimi, hopefully we get to see more of them, because they weren't partaking that much in this episode. But I'm hoping they'll get back together soon. But yes, that's it for this episode. And folks, don't forget, if you guys enjoyed my content, don't forget to subscribe. But watch out for more videos of Digimon Tree, as I'll try to get them more out as fast as possible. But like I said before, don't forget to subscribe. This is Mr. Zen, signing out.